getting disfellowshipped.
Sonia Erickson has been disfellowshipped.
It crushed my whole family.
Okay, to continue the meeting.
Later, my father explained to me that I couldn't remain in the home because I refused to change my lifestyle. He told me I was having a negative effect on my younger brother and sister. I tried to contact them. I just wanted to talk and to hear their voice. I missed being with my family. And they thought about reaching out to me. But they knew that if they had associated with me, even a little, just to check on me, that small dose of association might have satisfied me. I was disfellowshipped for more than 15 years. One time I was so distraught but they knew that if they had associated with me,
Do Jehovah's Witnesses break up families or build them up? As Jehovah's Witnesses, we work to build up families, both our own and those of our neighbors. We respect God as the creator of the family arrangement.
Now, as a witness for over a decade, when I heard that, okay, you know what came to mind? Check this out. Either I'm tripping or somebody lying. Jehovah's Witnesses don't build no families up, man. In fact, they separate families. See, what Jehovah's Witnesses like to do, they love to mince words. I like to call it lying by omission, meaning that they'll make a statement, but they'll omit a lot of information that can either make that statement true to those who are not in the know, because it's not all the way a lie. It's a lie by omission. You see what I'm saying? Jehovah's Witnesses do not build nothing up. Build families up how? When you guys meet people, they already have families. How are you building a family? They've been married for 10, 15 years before allowing them to come in. So how are you building families up? See, what they're doing is they're asking the wrong questions, right? Do Jehovah's Witnesses break families up or build them? That's very genius how they questioned that. What they should have been asking is, do Jehovah's Witnesses split up families? Do Jehovah's Witnesses divide families? Do Jehovah's Witnesses alienate families? You might be saying, well, what's the difference between breaking up families and splitting up families? Well, allow me to demonstrate to you the difference. This is a family. Now, to break up a family, all I gotta do is, that family broke up, man. Look at that family broke up down there, man. Look at that. Look, y'all broke up, man. That's breaking up. New Edition broke up. But now check this out. Here's a family, right? What if I split this family up between the believing, dedicated witnesses and the unbelieving / apostate witnesses or non-witnesses? You see the difference between breaking families up and splitting families up? And you know what eventually happens when these two are split up for long enough? They become alienated. They have nothing in common and don't even want to really spend time together. At least not this side. Now, if you go to Darwin's theory of natural selection, one of his things is that what made animals evolve is that they became isolated to the point where they could not even come back together. You see? So yeah, breaking up and splitting up is two different things. I think they use a word very slyly. So that people can say, oh yeah, they don't break up families. Well, yeah, technically they don't break up families. They don't come in your house like Tasmanian Deborah running through that piece, tearing up and breaking up your family. No. They slyly come in and split you away from those who might influence your thinking. Right?
He told me I was having a negative effect on my younger brother and sister.
I'm going to try to keep this video short, y'all. Here's another one right here. Do Jehovah's Witnesses break up marriage? I'm going to tell you a story in a minute, okay? Why I'm on my face. Okay, why I'm doing this. Because I realized that, I'll let you know in a minute, okay? This comes from the November 1st, 2008. There we go. Okay, and what this article does is supposedly gives like some interview, like different family members who their spouse became a witness and they didn't. And it talks about how, no, the marriage got better after they became witnesses. Let me read this real quick, okay? I'm going to read this first one real quick. Mark, who lives in Australia, had been married for 12 years when his wife began to study the Bible with Jehovah's Witness. I was happily married and had a satisfying career, says Mark. Life was good. Then my wife decided to study the Bible with Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay. It says, Mark began to wonder if his marriage would end because of his wife's new faith. He thought about stopping her Bible study and forbidding her to have any contact with the witnesses. Instead of reacting impulsively, though, Mark allowed some time to pass. What happened to his marriage? Happily, he says, Mark, our marriage is even stronger now than it was before. It has continued to improve. And then it goes down to say, what helped the marriage to succeed? Again, mincing these words. What you gotta understand is, Mark said before the witnesses came, they had a happily marriage. They was happily married. And he really had a satisfying career. So, if that was going on before the witnesses came, they would have had a successful marriage if the witnesses not come. What happened is, your marriage was going like this, witnesses came, zoom, and then y'all started to get in line and it went back up again. But guess what? The witnesses come, you would have went like that. Do Jehovah's Witnesses break up marriages? Again, and they use the wrong words. I'm going to show you how Jehovah's Witnesses, in the end, do break up marriages. They might not come and say, oh yeah, we don't break up marriage. They might not really break up marriages. Hold on for a minute. Gotta take a little swig. You know what I mean? Alright, anyway. Now here's the line by omission part. Okay? Because, where is that at? Where is that thing I just had? Where's that book I had? Okay. Here's the line by omission part. Hold on. Let me see if this is even where it's at. Where's it at, man? Okay. Back to this magazine right here. Let me show you what they did, because they interviewed about, I think, 3 or 4 couples, right? 3 or 4 couples, right? In this one magazine right here. And then on this page 13, they ask questions, right? They ask questions. Let me show you what they don't ask in here. For one, do Jehovah's Witnesses encourage their members to separate from a marriage mate who is not a witness? The answer is says no. That's one question. Is a wife who is one of Jehovah's Witnesses encouraged to ignore her husband's wishes if he does not share her belief? No. Do Jehovah's Witnesses teach that a husband's authority is absolute? No. Do Jehovah's Witnesses teach that divorce is prohibited? No. You see that? So these would be the talking points you come when they say, well, Jehovah's Witnesses break up family. Whatever the elders usually talk about, well, do we do this? Do we come and tell you to divorce? Do we do all this? No. But guess what they don't ask? Guess what they don't ask? Guess what they don't ask? Keep yourself in God's love, baby. But this is what they don't ask in that whole magazine right there. What that say right there? How to treat a disfellowship person. See how they did that? See how they did that right there? They love emitting stuff, man. They love omitting stuff in these magazines. They're going to ask you all these old bogus questions. Well, yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses don't pay. We don't tell the wife to separate if she come in and he don't. We don't tell them do that. We don't tell them they can't divorce. We don't tell them all this stuff. Yeah, but you also don't tell your Bible students how to treat this fellowship person. And if a husband becomes disfellowshipped, or a husband becomes marked, or the children becomes disfellowshipped and marked, what they tell them to do? I'll answer it for you. I will answer it from you, straight from the organized to accomplish God's mission. You, Joe Witness, ain't got to answer it. I'm going to answer it for you. Because when you ask Joe Witness, they shut down, they think of lies. But guess what? You ain't got to. Your lies is right here in truth books. Your lies is in a book called Truth. This is how you treat this fellowship. And even, not this fellowship, even marked. Check this out. After giving repeated admonitions to such individuals and finding that they persist in disregarding well-established Bible principles, the elders may decide to speak to the congregation and give appropriate admonitions. Individual members of the congregation would then be obliged to mark a person. What do you do with a marked person? If anyone is not obedient to our word through this letter, keep this one marked. Stop associating with him. That's how you treat a disfellowship person. It don't matter if it's your son, your daughter, your sister, your niece, your husband. It don't matter none of that stuff. You don't associate with them. How is that keeping families together, Joe Witness? Explain that to me. Riddle me that. So yeah, you don't break families up, but you split them up because you're not listening to these dudes in New York. I'm not disfellowship at this point, but I am marked. I'm marked. Who cares? I'm marked. I'll be marked. It don't matter. I'll be marked by them people. You can mark me, do whatever you want to. Put my picture on the wall and throw darts at. I care less. Do whatever you want. But you see what I'm saying? The whole point is you got to be real with yourself, man. Be truthful with yourself. Read between those lines. Sometimes you got to do cross references because one magazine ain't going to say everything. You see what I'm saying? Now, for you witnesses say, oh no, we don't shun our family. No, we don't do that. We would never do that. They choose to shun us.
Say, I'm shunning the congregation.
Okay, well, obviously you didn't study your magazine, sister. You didn't study your magazine, sister, what they call that? Cognitive dissonant? Sister cognitive dissonant? You didn't study your magazine. April 15th. Check that out. 2015. You gonna sit here and lie to my face and say you don't shun your family members? You gonna sit there and lie to my face?
I missed being with my family. And they thought about reaching out to me, even a little, just to check on me. That small dose of association might have satisfied me.
Page 29. Why this fellowshipping is a loving provision. Let me see how much they don't shun family members. Oh, sons and daughters. Let me see how much they don't do that. I'm going to read it with a dramatic tone like they do in them little JW broadcast. When I listened to the announcement that my son has been disfellowshipped, my whole world seemed to come to an end. We call Julian. He was my oldest child, and we were very close. We did a lot of things together. After some 10 years, Julian's son returned to the congregation. Now, I didn't read the whole thing, but guess what? There's a whole nother magazine that explains what happened during those 10 years of Julian being disfellowship. Julian's son being disfellowship. Let me see where it's at. Where that page at, man? Hold on for a minute. Stay with me. Stay with me. Hold on for a minute. See if I can find that page, man. Shoot, I done lost it. Okay, here. Wait. Okay, here we go. Take it from the April 15th, 2012 Watchtower. Let's see what happened during those 10 years that son with his fellowship and see if the Watchtower built anything up between these two. Let's see if they built anything up. Let's see what they broke up and what they didn't break up. Page 12, paragraph 17. A young man had been disfellowshipped for over 10 years, during which time his father, mother, and 4 brothers quit mixing in company with him. How is that not breaking up family, people? How is not talking to your own son or not mixing in company not breaking up families? What are they talking about? What do you mean not breaking up families? Y'all lying by omission, man. Okay, yeah, you don't break up families as soon as you come knock on the door. Yeah, you're going to feel like sheep coming to that door. At times, he tried to involve himself in their activities, but to their credit, each member of the family was steadfast in not having any contact with him. Now tell me, how is that not breaking up families? When you prohibit family members from even contacting each other. How's that not breaking up families? Explain that to my big old head, man. Explain that to my big old dome. Because it's not going through here, man. When it comes to retardation, Bo don't know diddly. I got 2 more pieces I want to share with you guys, man. And I want to share with you guys. Hold on for a minute. Let me see if I got the right thing because I want to show something I already showed before. Okay, yeah, I did that right there. Old school, organized book. Watchtower did that. Okay. Grounds for separation. Okay. Here's another way they will break up or split up families. Whether you guys know it or not, this is one of them unwritten laws. They would actually break up your family by separation. Let me read this to you, man. The secret to family happiness, man. And this is page 160. It says grounds for separation. It says, if a spouse is extremely violent towards the partner, perhaps repeatedly beating that one to the extent that health and even life are in danger, that's one reason, one way you can separate from your spouse. But check this. Check this how they separate them. If a spouse constantly tries to force a marriage mate to break God's commands in some way. Now, again, they be so vague in what they talking about. What do they mean if a mate tries to force their... What if they mean if a mate or a spouse tries to force their marriage mate to break God's command? Seriously, what are they talking about? Okay? When it comes to God's command, what spouse is going to force their spouse or their mate to do anything to break any command? Unless you've been doing that before you met witnesses. You've been doing that. You would have did that before you met the witnesses. Okay? What are you going to do? Force them to steal? Force them to use drugs? Force them to get drunk? Force them to go have sex with somebody? What do they mean by forcing? And that's what they don't break down. They be so vague so when you come back and check them on it, they can say, no, that's not what we meant. Here's what they meant when they say a mate forces their spouse not to obey God's command. This is what they mean. This is what they mean when they say you can separate from this person. And this book right here, first book I actually studied with Jehovah's Witnesses back in 98. What does God require? But this is lesson 8, family life that pleases God. Okay. It says when marriage mates have problems getting along together, they should try to apply Bible counsel. God's word does not encourage separation, but a wife might choose to leave her husband if his extreme opposition makes it impossible for her to worship Jehovah. What does that mean? In Jehovah's Witnesses' eyes, there's only 4 basic ways you worship Jehovah. Prayer, study, going to Kingdom Hall, and going on a field service. Them are the 4 ways you worship Jehovah. If any Jehovah's Witnesses know any other way, put it down in my comment section. But them are the ways you do it. So basically, you can actually separate from your husband if they're trying to prevent you from being dedicated to this corporation. So there you go, folks. When they say, oh yeah, we don't break up families. Well, technically you don't. But by and large, you do. You do by your policies. You do by holding them hostage when I don't agree with 8 men in New York I have never met. If I don't agree with them, then yeah, you will separate my family from me. You don't encourage us to get together because you're scared I'm going to influence them. But going back to the beginning of my video, man, as I said before, I've learned something at first. Okay? I learned something at first. This goes back to when I went to another congregation. Me and my family moved to another congregation, and they had sent my letter of what do you call that? They sent the letter of introduction over there. Now, I have been marked by the elders in my previous congregation. Okay, I might have told this story in another video. Now my wife was doing letter writing because she didn't drive at the time, so she would do letter writing with these pioneers. Okay. For some way, somehow, these pioneer sisters got to understand that I've been a bad boy somehow. I was a bad boy in another congregation. Somehow I don't know that, because actually, you know, the elders don't gossip, right? Elders don't gossip to their wives what's going on, and their wives don't. You know what I'm saying? Wives don't go talk to the pioneers. But anyway, while I'm at work, why these sisters sitting here lying, smiling in my face? They want to invite my wife out to gatherings. Oh, he's at work. Don't worry about it. He won't know. Basically trying to have her come to things because they still view her as good association, but not me. One came in and told, oh, well, you know, I actually had to leave my husband because he was doing, I can't remember, but something to the effect of, don't let him keep you from the hall. And what they do not know is my wife started going to the hall before I did. But I guess they thought I had that much influence over my wife that I was keeping her from the hall. My wife started going to the meeting before I did. I was still going out and really truly all the way believing. I still gave her the benefit of the doubt, but she stopped going. And I wasn't even really telling her. It's something that happened to her where it kind of stumbled her away. It had nothing to do with me. I didn't tell her anything that was going on in my mind. I've been praying for over a year for God to show me a sign that maybe I'm wrong, and nothing came. I never given any idea to my wife that I didn't believe it. Not until after I stopped going. But for some reason, they thought I had so much influence over her. They didn't understand she wasn't even into it. But yeah, I just found this out, man. It's just crazy that they can laugh in your face and go behind your back and try to get your wife to go against you. But come in your face smiling like they all cool with you. You understand what I'm saying? But that's all I wanted to share, man. And you know, until next time, man, thanks for watching.
The consequence of dissociation, as we understand it, is that that person will be shunned, and that means they lose contact with family, friends, and everyone else who remains inside the Jehovah's Witness organisation. Is that right?
Respect the right of the Commission to...
Then they lose all of their previous social structure. Is that right?
That could be the case, and we respect their right to make that decision.
Well, it's a pretty cruel way of dealing with someone, isn't it, who has suffered sexual abuse.
Again, with respect, we just...
Cruel, isn't it? To take away, by reason of the rules that you impose, all of their social structure.
With respect...
That's cruel.
Again, with respect, we just...
I understand what you say, but can I just ask you this simple question? Why is it necessary when someone feels that they can no longer abide the organisation and has to dissociate, why is it necessary to shun them? Why can't they keep having social contact with those people who happen to remain in the organisation?
Well, again, with respect, we just...
Why is it necessary for the organisation to tell all of its adherents, you must shun that person?
Because the individual say, I'm shunning the congregation.
His honest question is, why is it necessary to shun the person who disassociates? Why is it necessary to have a policy that everyone else must now shun them?
Because the individual say, I'm shunning the congregation.
I'm shunning the congregation. I'm shunning the congregation.
You said that they shun the organisation.
I say that with respect.
Well, you haven't answered the point, but we'll move on.
That's the question.